Let me go to the most commonly heard argument, and it's accuracy. There are a lot of people that believe that fan subs are a more accurate translation of the original product. How many in here believe that's true, just out of curiosity? You can say it. You can say it. I'm not going to yell at you. Who thinks they're getting a more accurate translation by watching a fan sub?
If it's 4 kids, then it's not accurate at all. Because
We're gonna get to 4 kids all by itself. That's its own little topic. Yeah. Okay. Y'all do?
Well, I don't know. I've only on a few very specific shows, but in general, the legitimate version is better. That's what I've
Thank
seen.
you. How many of you saw a show called Serial Experiments Lane?
Yeah.
I have 2 different versions of it. The one that came in the lunchbox and the one I had to pay way too much money for. You notice they always release the cool one after you've bought the single stick of everything. Like Gantz is now coming season 1 and 2 in a Gantz ball now. Now I have to buy another Gantz. It's like Robotech all over again. Only with Robotech it's over and over and over and over and over and over. So, okay, so those of y'all that saw Serial Experiments Lane, how many of you picked up on the anti-American sentiment in that show? Taliesin, was there a bunch of anti-American sentiment built into that show?
Oh yeah.
Funny, the fan subs didn't even get that.
Yeah, that was a complicated piece of translation. It was a very complicated thing. Abe is a very hard artist to adapt because he's an artist and has a lot to say, and he does it with metaphor. And it's 3 years of Japanese at your high school is
It's not going to give me an accurate translation. And were you saying you watch Raws?
Yeah.
Watanabe, Shinichi Watanabe, or as y'all know him, I saw somebody in here dressed as Nabashin. There's Nabashin. Huh? Oh, you've got Menchie with you too, and he's not even been made into food yet. We just recently hung out with Watanabe in Houston. He came for a giant screening of Narima Daikon Brothers and a subtitled only preview of Wallflower in Houston a few months ago. And someone, of course there's always a hater in the room, they were taking question and answers, and somebody was like, well, how did you feel watching this show in English, which I didn't know I spoke American, but that's different depending on where you are. And he said, well, I didn't understand it, but I never intended people to read my shows. That was right from the artist's mouth. And he said while he didn't understand it, he enjoyed the fact that he was in a dark room with hundreds of people that were laughing at it. Screaming, and singing along and clapping. So the artist himself, anime is an artistic medium. And I'm not going to bag on anybody that watches subtitles because the subtitled version of La Femme Nikita is much better than the dubbed version for me because I want to hear Anne Pario's voice. But, because she's hot. But that being said, when the artists themselves say, look, I intended you to watch this and enjoy it, not spend too much time, especially when we know that if you don't speak immaculate Japanese, there's literal Japanese, there's regional Japanese, there's contextual. I mean, unless you speak Japanese in a way that allows you to simply watch a raw, then you're really not getting it as the artist intended you to watch it. Now, if you can, Matt can too, and David Williams can. I mean, we know lots of people that can, but as far as an accurate translation, Taliesin has one of my favorite quotes. He said, a fan subbing group is a group of people that get together and translate and make anime available. When you work for ADV or Funimation or Viz or Bandai, it's your job. And it's a series of checkpoints. It's not one person that goes, yeah, I think that's right. Actually, what was originally when Shoko was there, it was like a 4-step translation process at ADV?
It's either 3 or 4.
And now it's still 3.
There's a lead translator, a proofing translator, and then I believe the head of translation always proofs everything.
Yeah, that doesn't leave a whole lot of room for error. I know that y'all go through a lot with translation as well. Legitimate companies that release licensed product go to great lengths to make sure the translation is accurate. Now, somebody always asks, well, then why wasn't Lane accurately translated in the commercial release? I think there was probably an interest in not making it too anti-American when selling it to America, which we'll talk about that, I guess, when we get to 4 Kids. Yeah.
And I was just going to add in also that besides just having the finished show to watch, most often the professional translators with the American companies who have licensed that product, they have the original scripts as well, and also often have access
To the notes
the
and-
original directors and writers and the original people who created the show.
Yeah.
So they have a lot more access to these kinds of materials than someone
Yeah.
who's just simply watching the show.
Yeah, actually, when we were working on Nerima Daikon Brothers, there were certain jokes that didn't work in English, as a raw translation. And guess who ADV went to get a fix for it? The man in the afro. Nabishin was involved with, was it Sarah that was working?
Sarah, who was the lead
Sarah
translator.
was constantly in communication with Nabishin as to, okay, this joke doesn't work. Can we make a sex joke here? And I love with Nabishin, it's always okay to make a sex joke. So, that's a fix. That's a quick fix right there. But, yeah.
I also just we've nailed every Abe show since.
Yeah, definitely.
We do not screw around with that guy at all. And they see everything that we produce, and they make
Yeah.
sure that it's exactly what they want.
Thank you for saying that. How many of you think that what we do on the American side of the industry is never seen by the Japanese? We've had the Japanese make us recast shows before because they didn't like the actors that we had chosen. How many times? Everybody agree? You've seen more than a few chances of that. Johnny, I know, had to step into the role that a friend of his had because they wanted him. The Japanese said, no, we want this voice and not this voice. Talk about uncomfortable, but that's the Japanese wishes.